Hi guys, it's Coach Anthony back at you with another edition of Animate, bringing chess to life. Today we are going to look at another special rule in chess called En Passant, the In Passing rule. This rule involves the captain of the team, the little guys. Let's take a closer look. En Passant is a special rule that prevents pawns from escaping capture. This only happens when the pawns are on their home rank. Black pawn's home rank will be the 7th rank. And the opponent's pawn is 2 ranks away. So we have the 5th rank, which is 2 ranks away from the black pawn's home rank, and we have our pawn sitting on f5. How does it work? If you remember, pawns on their first go can move 1 square forward or 2. Well, what happens if the pawn moves 1 square forward? Well, that one's an easy answer. Our pawn on f5 would simply capture. But what happens if the pawn doesn't move 1 square forward, it actually hops 2 square forwards? Well, it seems as if the black pawn has run past our pawn on f5, and how are we supposed to capture it? This is where the special rule en passant comes in. The rule states that you can capture the black pawn as if they only moved 1 square. So it is as if this pawn hasn't moved 2 squares, it's only moved 1. So you have 1 move and 1 move only to capture it, and it looks like this. You actually capture like this and take the pawn. Mais sacre bleu, I hear you say, this is difficult. No need to worry. Let us see it in practice. Remembering, we have the white team here and they are on their home rank. So which one of the black pawns may be able to do en passant? Well, if we remember, you have to be 2 ranks away. So that will be any pawn that's on the 4th rank, which means that the only pawn available is the pawn on h4. Okay, how does it work? Well, if the pawn on g2 wants to move 1 square forward, we see that the black pawn on h3 will easily be able to capture. What happens if the pawn decides to sneakily run past or try to run past the h4 pawn? That's correct. The pawn on h4 will simply be able to capture it as if it only moved 1 square, just like this. And there we are. On to some practice positions. Pause your video and work out which one of the black pawns may be captured by en passant if they were to jump 2 squares forward. I'm back. Let's check the answer. Well, first of all, we have the white pawns that are on f5 and b5 sitting on the 5th rank, 2 ranks away from the black pawns which are still on their starting rank. So that's looking good so far. Now, which particular pawns could jump to? Well, we have the h pawn could jump to, but as we see, jumping to, it's not going to be in any contact with the pawn on f5 or the pawn on b5, so we can rule this one out. Let us look at the pawn on G7. Well, if this pawn was to jump 1 or 2 squares, it would be in contact with the pawn on F5. So if it were to jump 2, the pawn on F5 would be able to capture en passant. So let's highlight this pawn. It's 1 definitely. And I think we can see the same thing happens for the E7 pawn, because if it were to jump 2, then once again it could be captured en passant. Look at the pawn on C7, and I think we begin to see a pattern here. If this pawn was to jump 2 squares forward, we see it would be captured en passant by the pawn on B5, and a similar thing for the pawn on A7. So we see the answer was 1, 2, 3, 4 of the black pawns. On to the next position. White team to move. Pause the video and work out if en passant is possible in this position. I'm back. Let's check the answer. Let's pay close attention to the pawns that are still on their home rank. And we see it's the pawn on A2, the pawn on E2, G2 and H2. Which black pawns are on the 4th rank? Well, it's only the pawn on E4 and the pawn on G4. In order for en passant to happen, the pawn on their home square needs to be able to jump 2 squares. So we see that the pawn on A2, if it jumps 2 squares, has no opposition from any black pawn. So this pawn is out of the equation. The pawn on E2 can only jump forward 1 square and it would be blocked. So that pawn is out the window as well. We have the pawn on G2. Once again, for the same reason, can only move 1 square. So that leaves the pawn on H2 that can actually jump 2 squares. And if the pawn were to jump 2 squares and try to run past the G4 pawn, remember if it moved 1 square, the G4 pawn will be able to capture it. So it tries to sneak and run past, then we can capture using the rule en passant. So it looked like this. That white pawn will run past the G4 pawn. However, the G pawn is given 1 move to capture as if that H pawn had only moved to H3. So there we go. And en passant is possible. So in summary, en passant, the in passing rule, is a special move that only happens with the little guys. The pawn has to be on its home rank and the opponent pawn 2 ranks away. It is only the pawn that is 2 ranks away that can capture en passant if the opponent moves their pawn 2 squares on the first move. Please like and subscribe, and see you all on the next video.